Okay.
All right, welcome. Today we have Meena Puri, a spiritual mentor, podcast host, which I saw and loved, the author of Wake Up and Heal 6 Steps to Emotional Freedom, and an Ayurveda practitioner. So thank you for coming on and squeezing me into your busy schedule.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Yay.
Yeah.
So first of all, I wanted to know kind of like the background, the foundation. So what influenced you originally to get into more holistic healing practices and all of that fun stuff?
Wow. It's a loaded question, but I had quite a journey. I actually come from a lineage of Ayurveda doctors and healers,
Wow.
my father, grandfather, and all of that. But I moved from India when I was 14, and I didn't connect because it was everywhere. To me, what else is there?
Yeah.
I didn't even think, oh, this is Ayurveda. It wasn't formally introduced.
Interesting.
So when I came, actually, I went into sciences. I have an undergrad in biochem. I wanted to go to med school. I visited the schools and I saw a lot of machinery and equipment. And I thought, that's not what I want.
Mhm.
So I didn't, and then I went and became an accountant instead, a CPA.
Wow. Wow. What a switch up there.
So I'm like, I must be like both left and right brain because I'm
Mhm.
very detail oriented, but I'm also a very deep digging person and very philosophical at the
Mhm.
same time. So I don't know, however it's created here is created here. But and then just a chance yoga class I took about over 30 years ago. And I thought, you take this like this is formally a class.
Mhm.
You don't know it. So I think it really comes from prior lives. And my teacher asked me to teach without the teacher training
Mm.
because the teacher training hasn't started. I actually helped him get started.
Yeah.
So I taught it. To me, it was nothing. Like it must have something I brought with me. And so he goes, oh my God, the bells have been ringing after your class. And then we did the teacher training. So I taught yoga for a long time, over 30 years. I had a studio in Michigan that
Wow.
specialized in yoga therapy. I'm the yoga school of Milford, so that's what I did. And I took yoga everywhere I could. I wrote a column on it. Schools and high school I taught. And then I thought, I need something more.
Mhm.
And then a friend of mine said, have you looked into Ayurveda? I was totally blown away. And I said, Ayurveda, is that here?
Do they have it here?
I'm like, is that a thing? Is it here? Anyway, so that was it. It found me.
Wow.
So it found me, then it was like coming home.
Yeah.
Here I am.
So did you knew that your family was that
No,
they
no,
were
I knew. I just kind of disconnected the India
yeah.
part. I thought this is India. I don't know why. It didn't come to my awareness.
Yeah. I find
Yeah.
that super cool that you were a yoga instructor too and you had your own studio as a yoga
Yeah, and I
instructor. I'm like,
specialized in yoga therapy. So I taught all over. I taught at General Motors. I took yoga and Ayurveda to high school kids. I was the enrichment teacher for 7 years.
mm,
And I took it to hospitals. I created programs in hospitals. So I didn't, wherever the opportunity, I was at the YMCA, wherever I could, I took it
mhm.
everywhere. And then Ayurveda found me really, and the rest is history. I've come home.
That's beautiful. I love your story. So for people that may not even know like what Ayurveda is, how would you break down like the basics? Like very basics. What
Yeah.
is it?
So basic really it's science of life. So Ayurveda is translated into science of life. So when you look at that, it's a pretty big topic,
Mhm.
right? It's an endless topic. So the information, just like the yoga, Patanjali's, and this information is cognized by enlightened beings who meditated for decades and centuries, if they
Mm-hmm.
lived that long, to cognize this knowledge, and they then transcribed it. And so Ayurveda is the science of life, which means everything that affects your life, it is affects your health. Life and health is, interchangeably used. So when we look at the environment around us and nature, we are nature. Everything is made up of 5 elements, right? Fire, water, earth, ether, and space and air, right? We have those elements within us when we look at the functionality of those elements as to what function do they serve. Right. So built into our physical body is, from being a yoga teacher, body is the mind, mind is the body, breath connects it. But many times in the yoga community, they used to say, mind, body, soul. But that was an incomplete picture. So think of mind, body, soul as a tripod. Well, where is the tripod resting? It's resting on this field of consciousness.
Yeah.
So Ayurveda is a study of consciousness. So Ayurveda is as much about diet and lifestyle and as it is about spirituality and evolution. It's everything. So even now in our, we're moving through this time, revolutionary time where we're shifting in consciousness. So many terms like quantum jumping or quantum field have come into people's awareness.
Yeah.
What is that? We have known about this centuries ago. I mean, not centuries, this is 6,000 years old, right?
Yeah.
They had known about this. It's just that now we are giving it different terms and now people are open to it. So we're learning about it. So Ayurveda is really your whole life journey from the most gross, your physical body, to the most subtle, pure consciousness, from the physical to the non-physical. So it's all kinds of healing, physical healing, mental, emotional healing, trauma healing, energetic healing, spiritual healing. So that's why when sometimes people, there's a whole world of marketing, they tell you, what is your niche? What is your niche? I just have a simple sentence. I go, I help you heal the root cause of disease. I help you heal the root cause of all disease, mind, body disease. So that's really what it is, because you cannot heal the physical without healing the non-physical. And when you have healed the non-physical, really, the physical gets naturally healed. Either you're led to those habits, they're internally driven, and you just naturally align with what's right for you on the physical sense. When you're an evolved being, you're not going to be, rolling in the mud per se. You're conscious about it. You're conscious about what lines up with you. So, and that in a nutshell, this is Ayurveda is a treasure trove of wisdom, is bottomless pit. And I say to myself, boy, I'm just touching the surface.
Yeah, I love the idea of incorporating everything, like taking it from a holistic perspective, because even in my classes, which I think now where we are at in, the Western world, sometimes it's harder to tap into the emotional side in a yoga class without people being a little like squirmish. But what I love is that bridge between, if you want to heal all of this, your entire body, what else is living within you that you need to tap into?
Absolutely.
Hips are my biggest thing in classes because there's so much in your hips, so much energy, so much stored there. And people come in and they all have the hip problem, they all have the shoulder issue, and it's all things that when I hear it and I see their face, I know it's deeper. It's not just what we're feeling.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, body is where things show up, but that's not where they came from.
Exactly. Which is why I love yoga and even this, because we're able to kind of, even if it's in a slow, subtle way, we can make those little comments like, as we're breathing into this area, what's coming up emotionally? What are we feeling? I don't know, in our heart space, even though we're stretching our hips, what
Right.
is going on through our body that we may need to check into and be like, this may not just be a physical issue. So I love
No,
Ayurveda.
and and it never is. And I say that now without cringing or anything. It's like, look,
Mm-hmm.
it has never failed in my practice. It is the truth. We are energy.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
energetic beings, and the physical body is where the energy will land because it's got to land somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My boyfriend's mom does body SDS, which is like a type of massage where she touches certain parts of your body, but
Uh-huh.
she does talk therapy throughout. I did one session and I was like, she touched my forearm. I was like, I had no idea I had so many emotions stuck
Stored
in
in
the
there.
forearm.
Absolutely.
Like one tiny spot of my body that I didn't even notice was tight.
Yeah.
She touched it and I went into an entirely different space. Like I
Right,
felt,
exactly. Because body holds it. It's the trauma, our experiences, especially the ones we haven't metabolized, it's in the body.
yeah.
Your body remembers it. The energy, where does the energy go? It goes into your tissues.
Mm-hmm. No, you're
Yeah.
totally right.
Yeah.
So what are your Ayurveda practices or routines, and how have they kind of helped transform your life and how you feel on an everyday basis?
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to share all, but just
No,
like
no,
some
I will.
little
I mean,
things.
there isn't anything that I have not gone through in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's divorce or death or trauma and whatnot. So if it wasn't for that, and I want to make a side comment, not Ayurvedic practitioners are the same.
Mm-hmm.
My forte tends to be really deeper work. Many Ayurvedic practitioners, they do more on the physical, like nutrition or herbs.
Mm-hmm.
I That's just not my thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you know, but I have also written, my first book was on nutrition.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it says healing your relationship with food, the Ayurveda answer. So
I'm
I
a
do
foodie.
talk,
I need
yeah,
it.
you need it. So I do talk about Ayurveda. It's like a mini Bible of Ayurveda in there, but
Mm-hmm.
in the context of food. But I start off with, what are the issues with food? Food is not the issue, it's our emotionality, it's our relationship with it.
Mm.
Right. So, and many Ayurveda practices are done with the Western science model. It's like instead of taking a drug, you take a non-drug.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not how I do my practice, because I think you're doing people a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not what Ayurveda is. I just told you, it's pure consciousness. It's the whole of life.
Yeah.
You can't just give people herbs. Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Herbs are necessary, but there's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've had like physical things. I had like flat feet,
Mm-hmm.
which the doctor wanted to give me steroid shots. I had restless leg syndrome. I had frozen shoulder, which before even Ayurveda, I fixed it with yoga.
Yeah.
I don't have flat feet. I have arches. I have created arches by using the muscles in that part of the body because I specialize in yoga therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was diagnosed with, oh, you have a little bit of rheumatoid arthritis in your upper back. Here's the pill. I never took it. I do headstands.
Yeah.
Right. So there.
Yeah.
And so, I've gone through I think a lot of anything that I teach, it comes through my experiences. So I always tell people that I am the lab.
Mm.
So when I tell you something, it's not coming from a book. It's coming from me because it's coming in through my experiences. And then I just connect and channel the information. So Ayurveda and yoga has healed my body physically.
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways. It has healed me, my past lives and all the energies that I bring into this life. It has healed all the past unresolved emotions and traumas. And it has helped me grow and evolve into the person that I've become today. It's everything.
Mm.
And
That's
if it was not for this, actually, I never even think about it because this is my way of life. I'm a walking Ayurveda because I live what I teach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I never think about it, but if I went the medical route, I'm sure I would be on a few medications,
Mm-hmm.
right? I am in
Yeah.
no medications. And so my daily routine is, I live a very simple life. Not simple life in the sense, like simple, some things, it just, wake up in the morning, meditation practice is just a natural. I
Mm-hmm.
can't even, it's not even like I have to, it's just a routine. It's something I start my day with.
Mm-hmm.
And, I eat, I freshly make all of my meals. Cooking is like I close my eyes, I can cook. It's not a big deal because I
Mm-hmm.
keep it simple. I keep it simple and easy. And as long as it's fresh and I know what went in, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I cook my meals. I do, I go to sleep on time, whether I fall asleep right away or not. And whenever challenges come in my life, challenges are going to come into everyone's life. But do you have the faculties and the reserves? And do you have the knowledge? Do you know what to do? Or are you
Mm-hmm.
going to freak out?
Yeah.
So I don't freak out. I kind of know what to do. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not always fun, but it's
Yeah.
not supposed to be. It's not about that. Like, what is fun? We chase the happiness and fun. We don't even know what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you stop resisting to unhappiness, there it is, your
Yeah.
joy.
I love that. Love that so
Right.
much.
So
Yeah.
I always tend to look at the bigger perspective. I always tend to go deeper and I make peace with life, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, like, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah. Well, I
Looking
love
at
it.
me, people don't think anything happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, why do you think I'm smiling all the time? It's
Yeah.
because I know the contrast,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You've been on that side. Now you're on
But then
this
it's
side
like
and you
it's
can
my
embody it and
personality
embrace it.
also. It's like until I call myself very clean, like
Mm-hmm.
internally,
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally, physically. So I'm like, Meena, you're a spoiled brat
Yeah.
because tiny little nuance. I'm like, what is that?
What's
Where
going
people
on?
my age would be like with medications, and I'm like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is that? And
Yeah.
I clear it up so far, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's my life. That's my life, my work. It's all in the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like how you make it so simple. It's not about chasing this really extravagant lifestyle and not chasing this joy
no, there's
even
no
through
such thing.
Ayurveda. Yeah, people can hear something like Ayurveda and hear the consciousness and get maybe even overwhelmed and not know how to incorporate that. But when you speak about it, it is very simple and it can be if we allow it to
Yeah,
be
and
simple
the
and go find
difficult
peace.
part really is the unlearning.
Yes.
And the
All about
difficult
the
part
unlearning.
is the unconditioning because that's what we are struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
Life actually is very simple, but it's not easy because the mind is filled, conditioned to in this narrow scope of thinking, and we don't know what's outside of it. So it is so much of that is unconditioning and thinking, oh wow, this is actually a way to think. You
Yeah.
ask people some deep, insightful questions, and they expand open.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the solutions are. When we continue to, we have mental health issues. We continue to tackle the mental health with mental health.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it came from. It doesn't have solutions. It has problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to figure out what to do with it. And we've got to go to someplace else,
Mm-hmm.
beyond the body, beyond the mind. And that's why I talk about spirituality or consciousness. Is this
Mm-hmm.
the bigger or quantum? Is this the reservoir of parallel world or the energy, that's what we need to tap into, because that's who we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's this connection which is going to shift our perspective and give us a different pivot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I like the visual of, we look at the mind because we see it as this tiny, tiny thing. And especially in Western medicine, we laser
Mhm.
focus our energy on the symptom of what
Yeah.
we're feeling and where it's at. If you have a knee problem, we're focused on the knee. We don't even think about the hip, the ankle, the things connecting it,
Yeah.
let alone
Yeah.
consciousness, let alone the emotions, let alone
Mhm.
this entire scape of things that we need to consider. So I think it's great that you're bringing that, especially to, this side of the world. We
Because
appreciate it.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're a living dynamic organism. There's
Hmm.
so many moving parts to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's not, is there so many moving parts and there's so much interconnectedness. Um, yeah, I tell people with the knee pain too, I go, I know it's in the knee, but we're working with your feet.
Hmm.
Because you don't know where it's coming from. Or people would be like, I have a client who goes, oh, I have, the rotator cuff is torn, so I haven't moved in a while. I said, no, don't do that. This is going to turn into frozen shoulder plus the rotator cuff issue. And let the rest of the body feed it.
Yeah.
Can you move your left arm? Yes. Can you move your feet? Yes. Can you bend your knees? Yes. Well, we need to do that
Hmm.
because that's food for this.
Yeah.
This needs this help, right? So, um, yeah, it's just really expanding our mind, and we are all capable of doing that. Just ask some bigger questions.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
And you touched on the unlearning. So when people first come to you, if they're new to Ayurveda, how would you help them kind of unlearn or maybe debunk any misconceptions that they would have coming from a space of normal doctors? I'm going to say normal doctors just
I
because,
understand.
the everyday doctor. So how would
Yeah,
you help them kind of realize that there is a different way of looking at it? How do you kind of go about that?
but the fact that they come to me, they
Mhm.
already are suspecting or knowing that there is more.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and when I start asking them questions, because they know the answer, they just don't know they know it. I
Mhm.
take all the information, nothing is missed. It's a comprehensive first consultation. And then I just put everything down and I'm like, so what do you think is happening? So what do you think is going on?
Mhm.
Why do you think that is? So I dig into it a little bit. I want them to know. That's the whole, it's not about me to know. I already know.
Mhm.
It's for them to know. So then they're like, really, I think it's this, da 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 da. And the truth is, this Ayurveda is not anything above and beyond who we are designed to be.
Mhm.
Inherently, we have this knowledge. We've just blocked it. So when I talk about this to people, they resonate with it. Their eyes light up, their heart opens, they smile, because it's like, just like I felt I came home when I found Ayurveda, they feel like they've come home.
Yeah.
They feel like, thank God, because whatever I'm speaking, it resonates with them, it rings true for them.
Mhm.
So, and my work involves so many different modalities, deeper insights, meditations, and deeper perspective. I've become really good at teaching sometimes the most difficult information, because some of this information is intangible,
Mhm.
right? And how
Yes.
do you teach that to people? But it really, the solutions are in front of me. I'll
Mhm.
talk differently to a plumber than I will talk to a skater,
Mhm.
because I know the language I know what they understand. A plumber understands something, a skater understands something. So, everybody has strengths. You just take that and build upon it. So we work with, people say, I'm here for, hypertension. I want to reduce the medication. But they didn't realize that yes, the food and the diet is creating the hypertension, but your emotionality, your
Mhm.
behavior, the intensity, and then, oh, and then it's a can of worms. And it's like, oh, then it's this issue. And they didn't know that the anger, unresolved anger, they didn't know that the frustration, they didn't know this discord in the relationship, they didn't know the relationship with the father that was. So all of a sudden, I mean, how did you come to be eating what you're eating and you can't seem to stop?
Mhm. Yeah.
So then they, we just work with whatever shows up. We start written
Mhm.
recommendations. If there's meditations, I record them thanks to Zoom.
Mhm.
And then we just, I continue to work with them week after week and whatever shows up. And it's a very organic process. It's not like, it's not like this is what some of the coaching practices are. It's a 6-step process. I
Mhm.
mean, I have 6 steps to my emotional healing, but sometimes people don't make it, it's a difficult process. So it's unique to everyone. Everyone learns differently. And then we just work with whatever shows up.
Mhm.
There's no struggle. It's naturally there. It's like it just came up. This is what showed up. I did this and that's what showed up. It's like layers. And it's a natural organic process. We work with what shows up. We don't go digging for trouble,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
If it's not showing up, then thank your lucky stars. You're
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
If it's not bothering you, then go live your happy life. Why
Mhm.
are you seeing me?
First of all,
If you're happy, then go happy.
yeah.
Go
Yeah.
away. But so I do get some people like, I wonder if I'm like, is something showing up?
Mhm.
Is something is a discord? I mean, this is rare a case. Mostly there are always issues, but
Mhm.
there's always something where somebody has free time and they think that, let me go dig into this. And I go, it'll be much easier if it just shows up by itself,
Mhm.
right? So why struggle?
Yeah. And it's always gonna show up if you're allowing it to show
If
up.
you're allowing it to show
Pressing
up,
it.
if you need to see it, if you can handle it, you're ready to see it, it'll show up and then come see
Mhm.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can make your way back.
Then you can make your way back. So, life is very natural. So there's no struggle in working with me. My clients laugh a lot. I laugh with them. They cry a lot too. Even that's
Mhm.
funny, you
Yeah.
know,
It definitely can be.
right? So I have a good rapport with them because I know how to
Mhm.
work with different people. So it's something people look forward to because it makes them feel better. It gives them their power back. It resonates. They're no longer lost or confused. They have the answers.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
revolutionary that you talked about the plumber situation and a skater situation because I'm sure many of the listeners and myself, we've all been to the doctors and they're giving us words that like I can't even picture how it's spelled. And we feel like, am I here? Like, am I even being seen? Do they know who I am? I don't know what that is. I don't know how to fix
Yeah.
that. So to be in the presence of someone who is helping that's also catering to my understanding. If you explain to a plumber the way that you need to fix, I don't know, sinks and stuff, but if you
Yeah.
explain to a plumber how you have to get to the root cause, you can't just put a band-aid over the pipe because it's not
Yeah.
actually going to be fixed, then he's going to understand it a little better.
Oh,
But
absolutely. I had a plumber client and he had, digestive issues.
mhm,
So I said, well, if the sink is plugged up, would you pour cold water or hot water into it?
mm,
He said, hot water. I go, same thing. When you're
oh,
eating greasy food and you're having a cold drink,
yeah.
he goes, oh my God, that's disgusting.
It all starts to make sense. It all starts to
So
make sense.
that's Ayurveda. It's as simple and as sophisticated. I mean,
Mhm,
it's so deep, but you can simplify it. It's very practical. You can simplify it. That's why I simplify it for people because I want them to, it's living wisdom. I want them to utilize it in their day-to-day life, and it's very usable. It's living wisdom. It's teaching you how to live, how to eat, how to think, how to feel. That's why it's so simple in that sense. It's just teaching you how to live this human life and in a very practical way.
Yeah, and it's using the connection of everything. That's just using the connection of what someone else may know. And when we break things down to people, like when I talk about the emotions stored in your hip, like if you explain it on a very basic level rather than, oh no, I have trauma in my hips, how did that get there? But you explain to someone and you walk them through the process of, when you're really scared and you feel your belly start to rumble and your hands start shaking and you tighten up, and then you never do anything about it after that. You just get out of the situation, you're still tight. Then people understand because they've all been in that situation.
They've all been, exactly, because actually anytime trauma, the body, the tissues take a hit. So the hit creates that inner contraction. So imagine that's like an assault to your tissues, very subtle or very deep. So imagine people who have trauma for so long, and then they have postural issues, right? Back pain, trauma are linked. So much, you just talked about your arm, right?
Yeah.
So because with the trauma, people have to understand that trauma, they feel something. They don't know what to do with it. So they push it away, but they actually push it down. So in that feeling is energy. There's an energetic impulse that hits the tissues. So in the response to that, because we don't know what to do with it, the tissues contract, or there's an inner contraction. But if we release that trauma, the tissues relax. Right? So it's just that. It's just we don't know it. So the tissues are taking continuous hit.
Exactly. And it's
so much of the inner contraction.
So for someone that has never been to an Ayurvedic doctor or has never really ventured out into expanding into figuring out what other causes may be, can you give an example maybe of what you would prescribe, let's say, or what you would suggest to a patient versus what you would get from a more average normal doctor?
So with an Ayurvedic consultant, practitioner, if you were to come with me, you really get your money's worth. The diagnostics are tongue, facial, postural, somebody's speech, and the pulse diagnosis. On the Zoom, that's the only thing that I'm not doing. But it doesn't matter anymore because I've just done so much of it. So these are the diagnostics, and the person is, first of all, is going to listen to what the complaints are and listen to the whole history. Take your medical history, take all the vitamins, put down all the dietary things. What are you eating specifically? And people tell me, I have a salad. So I'm like, what's in that salad? Then I get more. Or what dressing you use for the salad? Right? So we get specific because that's where the nuances are. You take their look at their digestion, their sleeping patterns, for women, their reproductive, menstrual health, and emotional issues, relationships. That's where they show up. How are they feeling in general? So pretty much nothing is missed. And then they walk away with a set of recommendations. First of all, they're going to walk away knowing what's going on with them because there's a conversation, there's an education, so they understand. And then you give them written recommendations in agreement with them. It's just you want to give people things that they can do easily, but has the most impact. So then it's not stress producing, but they can see the results. They have experiences, and there's no better teacher than experiences. Just simple things like stop drinking cold water. But why don't you change it to room temperature first? Maybe see if you want to take hot water. and they begin to feel better. Simple things like that. And you teach them why. There's a lot of education because that's the whole point, right? That's my whole point is one of the things that I really am passionate about is like when you go to a doctor or to a specialist, be educated.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't just walk away with whatever they tell you. You don't ask any question. You don't question what they're telling you. And we never want to do that. This is our health.
Mm-hmm.
You are the driver. When you are educated and empowered, then you know, okay, is this doctor going to work for me? Is this Ayurvedic practitioner going to work for me? Should I go see to acupuncture? They need to understand that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the trouble in the people's health. They have no clue about their health. They just go whatever the doctor tells them. They think that's everything. Or they think, well, I'll go to this energy healing. Well, it's fragmented information.
Mm-hmm.
You need the whole picture. Energy healing is not going to do anything if you have you've broken your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go to the ER and get it fixed, right? So, I've had people like really severe. So I'm like, you need to go to the emergency now. You need an IV on. You need to take some medication to go to sleep because they're having a nervous breakdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So when you do that, you'll calm down. You'll be able to think straight. Then we'll do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we just have to look at realistically what's happening. And education is very important. People need to know about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
what their tendencies are, what's happening, because they know. It's just that no one has asked them.
Yeah. Yeah. It all comes back to self-awareness. And
like when they go talk about, oh, I have asthma or I have bellyache, nobody has asked them why. They're like, well, here's the script.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody asked them what they eat. Nobody asked them anything.
Yeah.
They just give them a script. So that's a problem.
Yeah. And I love the question why. Like, why do you have it? It's almost like, I don't know. Most people's answer would be, I don't know. I don't know why I have it. But then you keep digging and chipping away at different parts of their lifestyle.
Yeah, sure.
And everything that is a part of it. And then
it begins to unfold. It begins to unfold. And it's all right there. So it just, so I think that, to be even having this conversation, we're making a dent. That's why I'm always open to talking about this, because it can more avenues to reach this information to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just, like my book says, we just need to wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are smarter than we are acting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just about right. I wanted to talk to you about your book, actually, because the title drew me right in.
Mm-hmm.
So
have
I know
you read my book?
No, I haven't yet. I want to.
Okay.
I read the title of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about the 6 steps, what would you classify them as? Are you talking more about like ideas and concepts?
No, they are actually healing. It's a healing technique.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You go, it's an idea and concept as well, but it's really, it's, you can get mental about it, but the healing needs to happen energetically in the heart.
Yeah.
So when I guide people through it, I have them in their heart and I walk them through the step, which can be very, difficult. Because it's the energetic healing, it's the body healing, it's somatic healing through this process. So they come out, they feel like, oh my God, energy has been lifted, because energy has been lifted.
Yeah.
But when you talk about in a mental concept, nothing happens. It's just a mental thing. You like mentally forgiving somebody because it's a nice thing to do.
You don't feel it.
You don't feel it. You don't feel it. And you're like, but I have forgiven them. I'm like, how? You're like, what do you mean how? I know I've forgiven them. Like it's again, it's not about what you say, but who you are.
Yeah.
Vibrationally. How do you really feel in here?
Yeah, it's asking, how do you really feel? Because so many people think they should forgive that person, or that's the right thing to
And it's,
do.
yeah, but
Do
sometimes
you?
we forgive too quickly because we don't really go through the process.
Mm-hmm. Then that
So
spirals
the
into,
process is necessary because there's a lot of emotions buried in there, and it really may have even nothing to do with forgiveness.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. A lot of times that's very true. And resent or
So
forgiveness is
much.
such a big
There's
topic.
so much tangled in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So is the book focused, does it give like tips and exercises, or is it
Yeah.
kind of
So the
like
book
the
talks
why
about
the 6 steps are
there.
important?
There are three parts to the book. So the book is written like, say wisdom of triggers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you go, it's like 3 pages. Many chapters are 2 pages, 3 pages, 1 page, because I made it very right there, very potent. Lot of information. I squeezed it in the shortest amount of words.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there are 3 sections to the book. Like one is, part one is what is healing. And then I talk about energy, part two, because I want to. And then the third part is called the 6A technique. The 6A technique to heal your emotions, the 6 steps. It's
Yeah.
really the 6A technique. So it just goes through it, and yeah, take a look. If you were drawn to that book, go ahead and read it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You'll
I
know
would
what
love
I'm talking
to.
about. Yeah, yeah.
So how would you define healing? Like if you can give it a definition. I know it's a big word, a big term, but how would
Healing
you?
to me is your deep connection with the truth of who you are, deep connection with pure consciousness.
Mm,
When that connection is there, that's the foundation. Everything else just lines up.
mm-hmm.
There's a clear flow of energy. So that connection is being infused into your relationships. It shows up in how you live. It shows
Mm-hmm.
up in how you eat. It shows up in what you do for a living. It shows up how are you in the world, how you do anything, because that connection is the basis of you,
Mm,
right? So
yeah.
that's healing. That's, it's alignment, body, mind, soul, alignment with where it is resting,
Yeah.
like peace in the mind, peace, joy in the heart. And it's not what we think it is. We
Mm-hmm.
think peace in the mind is, I'm just not bothered.
Mm-hmm.
No, again, like I mentioned this before, so peace can very well be surrendering to the unpeace,
Yeah.
surrendering to the surrendering to the anxiety. Well, I feel I'm anxious. Well, sit down and be anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We don't need to go fix it. Long time ago, these words were not even invented,
Yeah. Just being
right?
with it and being
Just
with
being with it.
ourselves.
So, like I'm not happy. Well, then sit here and be unhappy. Be sad, be angry, be it.
Yeah.
Slowly you'll find that, oh, you're actually going along your thing. Because half of the battle is, again, is unlearning.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlearning, unlearning the mess we have created with our heads.
Yeah. And
That's the
we're in
hard
a
one.
culture of fixing, fixing, fixing. How do I get rid of
Oh,
this? How do I do this? How do I fix that? Instead of just be. Or you just,
exactly. It's like, oh, how to save time. And my question is, what are you going to do with the time that you saved?
mm-hmm. I love that.
Is there, like, what are you doing with all the saved time?
Yeah.
So I want to save time. So pretty much you're not living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's as
What are you
simple as
doing
that.
then?
Yeah.
Get messy.
Yeah.
Get down
You
and
just
dirty.
be
Get
and
messy.
flow.
Life is messy. Life is beautiful. Life is a big experience. Like, don't deprive yourself of,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, don't deprive yourself of trying to cook a meal and
Mm-hmm.
not being successful if you can't be. But
Yeah.
it's the experience. Like, who cares? Order pizza if it doesn't turn out.
Yeah. That's okay. It's all gonna work out. It's just the trust. The one thing that I've really like taken away from this conversation and that I love so much is the knowing that it's always on a bigger spectrum and that we don't have to hyperfixate on that one thing that's happening. And it's just that reassurance for me, at least, that it does all work together and every piece of my life is
Absolutely.
interconnected.
And it's a result of the traumas we have experienced. So trauma is not, we have big, huge trauma is not big, huge traumas.
Mm-hmm.
Everyday experiences, when we don't know what to do with them, for lack of better word, we call it trauma. They're just little, it's not something so tragic, but we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it accumulates. So smaller things become bigger things. Then they define who we are. Then we think that's what life is. How do I control this? Become hyper vigilant, become hyper focused, control things, right? So yeah, it can be simple. It will be simple. So anyways, I'll keep talking until I drop.
I respect it. I'm a big talker, so don't you worry. Which leads me to my next question, actually, which is if you were in the room with the entire world, everyone's looking at you, everyone's listening, they're attentive, they're present, what would you tell them? I know it's a loaded one. You could take a second.
I would tell them to close their eyes for a minute and take a deep breath. I start all of my talks that way.
Mm-hmm. Feels good.
Close your eyes and take a deep breath. There you are in the present moment, in the now moment, connected with your body with a simple breath. It's magical. Right? What more could you want in a second, in a minute?
Yeah.
And it's felt. You feel it.
For sure. I got the wave over me. I'm calm now. Just feel like I'm floating. That's one of the most simple things to do on an everyday basis. It takes 0.2 seconds to just close your eyes, take a deep breath, see yourself, be with yourself, hear yourself, feel yourself.
Exactly, that's it.
Carry on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah, that's all we have to do. So I want to say thank you for coming on and joining me. Where can my listeners find you? Because I know they're going to want to probably know a little bit more about all of this through you.
Sure. So I want to share two things. Number one, they can find me on my website is ayurvedichealingcenter.com. I am on Instagram. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on a little bit TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I also have a podcast on YouTube. I have a podcast on Apple, Spotify, some other channels. And I'm on YouTube as well. So I also am offering at this time, I create many different things for people to work with me. Either they work with me individually. I also have audio courses. I have taught group courses that I create, I teach, and I turn them into audio courses. And there's some, both of my books you can download digital copy from my website page. But one thing I'm really excited about is I'm teaching this spiritual mentorship program for 6 months.
Wow.
So it's spirituality through the lens of diet and food, through the lens of lifestyle habits, yoga, through the lens of mental health, through the lens of emotional health, spiritual health, and quantum health. So these are the 6 months, highly practical, highly integrated. This is the first year of the program, and the cost is reduced to 55%.
Wow.
And there's a lot of individual time that I'm offering to people because I want to make sure that they get to the other side of it.
Mhm.
So this is what I'm really excited about, because it's going to be an amazing program. I'm going to continue to teach it in the following years, and it's going to continue to get deeper. But I'm
Mhm.
really excited about the people who are joining in, people like yourself, people who are already into this, but they really want more. And then, yeah, exactly. They just want more. They want to fill the gaps wherever there are gaps. So, and that link, I have emailed you the links.
Mhm.
You can go ahead and share that with people. If they're interested, they'll be taken to my webpage. In there, there's a link to apply for the program. We start in March. So when they apply, I, talk with them for a few minutes to make sure it's a good fit and what do they
Mhm.
expect to get out of it. And yeah, so many ways to get a hold of me.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Well, that all sounds super exciting. I'm wishing you all the best of luck in all of
thank
these
you.
adventures. I hope you have so much fun on your little adventure coming up as well.
Thank you. Thank you so
Super
much.
excited for you. And I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for all that you taught and the giant reminder to keep it simple, to go
Mhm.
back to the basics and to
Yeah.
unlearn. So thank
Unlearn.
you.
Exactly. Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Very grateful
Thank
for
you.
you.
All right.